Something strange is happening around Kendrick Lamar and fans can feel it. His concert being cancelled out of nowhere wasn't just bad timing. It was a straight-up red flag. There's real noise moving through the industry right now. Whispers that someone powerful is trying to drag down the king of rap and stain his name for good. This isn't some random hiccup. It's a calculated move to mess with his legacy. It's wild how the media plays it off like nothing. They act like the cancellation was just a scheduling issue. But come on, we've seen this story before. The same pattern, the same spin, the same shady headlines trying to make Kendrick look difficult or unreliable. They're painting him like he's the problem when deep down everyone knows he's being targeted because he stands too tall. Behind the scenes, the big names in those high-rise offices are fuming. They don't like an artist who doesn't bow down or play the industry games. Kendrick speaks truth, and truth makes the system uncomfortable. So now they are trying to clip his wings, lower his shine, make him question himself. But good luck with that. He's been through way worse, and every time he comes back stronger. Everyone watching this needs to stay sharp. Don't let the smoke and mirrors fool you. What's happening right now is bigger than just one tour. It's about control. It's about silencing the man who speaks for the streets, for the culture, for the people who built this game. And before we dive deeper, hit that like button and subscribe. For real. Because right before this chaos, Kendrick had just shut down Mexico with a massive crowd of 65,000 fans losing their minds. His first full solo stop on the Grand National Tour was pure greatness, and that's exactly why they are shaking. Kendrick's first show was insane. The energy was wild. The crowd was packed and the entire city looked like it came alive for one man. No other rapper. Not now. Not ever. When he's pulling numbers like this. It wasn't just a concert. It was a movement. The kind of moment that makes you stop and say, yeah, this is history happening right in front of us. Fans were losing their minds. People were climbing fences just to get a glimpse. The energy was unreal. But that's when things started to take a strange turn. The second stop of the tour set for September 27th in Colombia suddenly got hit with chaos. Just an hour before showtime, boom, it's cancelled. The official statement dropped fast, claiming due to logistical difficulties from the promoter in the venue, the Grand National Tour show scheduled for tonight has been postponed. The artist was ready to perform. They even apologized for the frustration and disappointment it caused. Now, that's the official story. But come on. Since when do logistical issues pop up right before a massive show like that, especially for someone as prepared and professional as Kendrick Lamar? Something's not adding up. People close to the situation are already saying there's way more going on here than they're letting on. It's like someone's trying to twist the story before fans even ask questions. Before diving into the real reason behind this sudden cancellation, we've got to clear up these false narratives that are being spread. The media is already pushing stories that make Kendrick look unprofessional, like he's the one who backed out when everyone knows the man was ready to light that stage on fire. This isn't about logistics. This is about power. And somebody clearly didn't want that show to happen. Now people are twisting the story, acting like Kendrick isn't the same man who's been packing out stadiums across the world for years. Come on. This is the guy who sold out arenas from Europe to LA. The same artist whose shows turn into cultural events, not just concerts. But suddenly you've got certain folks at mostly Drake fans of course posting fake seating maps online, zooming in on random empty spots and claiming the crowd was weak. It's pure manipulation. A digital smear campaign dressed up as fan commentary. Let's break this down with some real logic. That venue held 80,000 people. 80,000. Even if Kendrick filled 70,000 seats, that's still more than most artists could ever dream of. And guess what? The show was still going to happen. But people who live their lives by numbers, charts, and clout chasing just don't get it. They treat hip-hop like a stock market, counting likes and retweets instead of bars and message. Kendrick doesn't move like that. He's not Drake, and that's exactly the point. Drake's whole empire runs on algorithms, image, and trends. Kendrick's built his legacy on art, truth, and message. For him, this tour isn't about flexing ticket sales or bragging about being the biggest name on social media. It's about connection, storytelling, and speaking truth to whoever's really listening. Whether the crowd is 80,000 or 800, he's showing up for the ones who feel the music, not the ones who just scroll through it. And that's what separates the real from the manufactured. Kendrick's message has always been deeper than numbers. It's about meaning. He's trying to reach the hearts that still care about the craft, not just the charts. And to the ones on the Drake side throwing shade, here's a reality check. Hip-hop isn't a dance trend. And Tuesday Slide isn't the blueprint for greatness. Kendrick's out here telling stories that shake souls, not just boost streams. That's what makes him the real face of the culture, whether they like it or not. Kendrick Lamar has never been a clout chaser, and that's exactly what separates him from the rest. Whether it's 5 fans or 500 million, he gives the same energy, the same precision, the same unmatched passion every single time. Nothing about his craft depends on attention or validation. It's about purpose. And that's why trying to spin this story against him just doesn't make sense. We've seen who Kendrick really is through every era. Back in the Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers days, he gave us one of the most personal and soul-bearing projects ever. That wasn't an album built for radio hits or Billboard glory. It was a reflection of pain, growth, and truth. Then came GNX, a record with bigger production and broader reach, but still with meaning, not gimmicks. Each project proves the same point. His about evolution, not popularity. So, let's think this through logically for a second. Why would a man who's been selling out every arena suddenly pull the plug on a show? Every stop on the Grand National Tour has been packed wall-to-wall. The only one that didn't hit full capacity to Houston still pulled 96%. That's basically a full house. And there are actual crowd photos and touring stats to back it up. Kendrick doesn't cancel shows for small dips because there aren't any dips. That's why this whole logistical issue excuse feels off. Fans know how serious he is about performing. He treats every stage like sacred ground. And for people pushing this idea that maybe the crowd wasn't there, stop it. Use logic. Kendrick Lamar doesn't move based on ticket sales. He moves with integrity, consistency, and pride. So, when we read that official statement, it's clear something bigger was being kept under wraps. The fans deserve better communication. But one thing's for sure, Kendrick didn't back out. This wasn't about low attendance or lost hype. It's about something deeper happening behind the scenes. And the sooner people realize that, the clearer the truth will be. Now, here's where things really start to look shady. The media's been moving funny, trying to bury the official statement and twist the story so Kendrick Lamar looks unprofessional, like he's lost his spark or doesn't have the same influence anymore. That's wild because we've seen the influence night after night, city after city. Every performance has been proof that he's still running the game, but the headlines keep acting like he's fading out. It's not just lazy reporting. It feels intentional. What's happening here is a reflection of a bigger shift in hip-hop. The industry is changing and it looks like they're trying to drag Kendrick down in the process. They're treating him like a problem just because he refuses to play their little clout games. He doesn't do gimmicks, doesn't chase fake trends, and doesn't spend his days begging algorithms for attention. That's what scares them. Because while everyone else is making noise online, Kendrick's making art. And that's what's driving people crazy. He's been dominating every other rapper out there and doing it with silence, class, and focus. No drama, no messy interviews, no fake stunts, just talent that speaks louder than anything they can spin. It's wild how threatened people get when one man can be this good without playing by the industry's rulebook. That's why the hate feels so coordinated. It's not random shade, it's strategy. Think about it. They're pretending no official statement even exists when it's right there in black and white. They are twisting timelines, claiming the whole tour might be cancelled when every other stop has gone perfectly. They're manufacturing chaos just to make Kendrick look unreliable. It's like the industry can't stand watching someone succeed without their help. So yeah, let's call it what it is. Hip-hop's gatekeepers are acting desperate. The same people who once praised Kendrick are now whispering behind the scenes, hoping to see him fall just because he reminds everyone what real artistry looks like. The game's never been this weird. And watching the system turn on the man carrying rap on his back is proof that power makes people uncomfortable. And that's why we've got to dig deeper because this show cancellation might not be what it seems. Now, let's get to the truth behind this whole mess. The real reason the show didn't happen. And yeah, this time the official statement was actually legit. Kendrick Lamar was fully ready to perform. Outfit picked, set rehearsed, everything locked in. But because of real logistical problems, the show couldn't go down. And it wasn't his fault at all. Let's break down what really happened. See, touring on a global scale is one of the hardest things to pull off, especially once you move beyond the US and Europe. People think it's just booking a venue and showing up, but it's a full-on operation. Crews, shipping, lighting, sound checks, stage builds, permits, customs, transportation, security. It's chaos behind the scenes. And when you're dealing with an artist like Kendrick Lamar, who runs an elaborate setup with visuals, live bands, and precision timing, everything has to be perfect. Now, here's where things got tricky. Some of the stadiums and venues and international locations don't have the same structure or regulations that major arenas in the States or Europe follow. We're talking about places that don't have the same building codes, event standards, or even proper power setups for massive productions. These aren't NFL or NBA level facilities. They're not built to handle tours that require that kind of tech. And Kendrick's shows, they're cinematic. You can't just plug in a few speakers and call it a night. So yeah, when you've got an artist who treats his tour like a living, breathing art piece, like a laboratory of sound and storytelling, the smallest delay or missing piece can shut the whole thing down. And that's what people don't get. They're out here pointing fingers claiming he flaked while ignoring how complex this operation really is. The truth is, these logistical issues were real. The infrastructure in that city just wasn't up to Kendrick's production standards. And rather than give fans a broken experience, he chose to wait because that's who he is. A perfectionist who refuses to do anything halfway. So next time someone says he can-led because of low sales, remember the man was ready, the stage wasn't. Here's where it all starts making sense. These venues, the ones not built for massive productions, are a nightmare to work with when it comes to setting up something as complex as a Kendrick Lamar show. We're not talking about a basic stage and a microphone. We're talking about an entire world being built right in front of your eyes. Every piece of the stage moves, glows, explodes, and transforms like a live movie scene. Kendrick's tour setup is next level. You've got fireworks, pyro effects bursting on cue, the massive GNX letters sliding in and out of the stage, and that jaw-dropping middle section that literally opens up to reveal props like the glowing dice and the red GNX emblem rising from the floor. Dancers weave in and out while the stage shifts beneath them. It's like watching controlled chaos turn into art. Then there are the risers that lift into the sky while the stars light up around him. The rotating lights that sync perfectly to each track. And the precision engineering that makes every movement flow with the music. This isn't something you can just set up quickly. It's a full architectural project wrapped in rhythm and storytelling. One small mistake and the whole performance could go wrong. And Kendrick's team doesn't take those kinds of risks. And here's the proof. The venue just wasn't ready. Reports and behind-the-scenes footage showed pure confusion the day of the event. Crews were rushing, power tests were failing, and key parts of the stage couldn't even be secured properly. The infrastructure simply wasn't designed to handle something of this scale. The structure was off, the wiring was messy, and there were safety concerns all over the place. So, when Kendrick's team arrived and started setting up, they realized fast that the GNX experience couldn't run the way it had everywhere else. Not safely, not cleanly, not the way fans deserved. Imagine spending years building a flawless production only to see it fall apart because a venue isn't up to code. And this is where people need to think deeper. This isn't some made-up excuse. It's the real reality of touring at that level. These are the kinds of complications you only understand if you actually care about the craft, not the clickbait. But instead of talking about that, people are out here pushing ridiculous claims trying to tear down the one man keeping the heart of hip-hop alive. Kendrick didn't cancel out of ego. He walked away because greatness demands the right stage to shine. Let's be real, not every venue on this planet is built to handle a Kendrick Lamar production. These aren't your average shows with a stage, and a MIC Kendrick's concerts are like living, breathing pieces of art. Every single element, from the pyro burst to the glowing GNX letters sliding on and off stage, is carefully choreographed down to the second. It's not a performance. It's a full-scale theatrical experience that demands precision and power. We're talking about a stage that moves. There's an entire middle section that opens up like a mechanical heart revealing giant props, the glowing dice, the red G and X symbol, the dancers weaving through moving panels. It's chaos turned into magic. When the lights hit and the music drops, it's not just a concert. It's an explosion of energy, visuals, and emotion that no other artist is matching right now. And that's not even the half of it. The rises shoot into the air as the stars light up across the stage. The floor shifts like it's alive, and the whole setup transforms in real time. Building that kind of stage isn't like assembling a few lights and speakers. It's a full-blown engineering project. Every hinge, every cable, every moving piece has to be perfectly aligned or it could all go wrong. Now, here's the kicker. The venue simply wasn't ready. People on the ground have said it themselves. Things were messy from the start. Crews were scrambling, wires were tangled, and even the structure of the stage couldn't safely support the moving sections. The power supply was inconsistent, the layout was off, and time was slipping away fast. It was clear that this wasn't a space built for a production of Kendrick's scale. So, when his team finally stepped in and saw the reality, they had no choice. The GNX show just couldn't run the way it had in every other city. Safety, timing, structure, none of it was lining up. And that's the kind of truth most people don't care to understand because it's not flashy enough for headlines. But this is what happens when you actually look beyond the surface. The industry is full of challenges that fans never see. Instead of digging into that, people are spinning wild rumors, making it sound like Kendrick flaked or fell off when in truth, he was protecting his vision. The man's carrying the weight of rap on his shoulders, and he refuses to let a broken stage be the reason his art looks anything less than perfect. Let's talk about what really connects here, because even Childish Gambino went through the same nightmare. And it proves this isn't a Kendrick problem. It's a venue problem. Gambino released an official statement showing how his team couldn't even finish setting up their stage because the building simply couldn't support the weight, power, and effects required for his show. The structure couldn't handle it, literally. And that's huge because it shows how fragile these massive productions can be when the setup isn't perfect. Now, think about it. If Gambino couldn't safely pull it off, imagine how tough it must have been for Kendrick, whose GNX tour is even more elaborate. These setups depend on safety first. You can't risk dancers, lighting crews, and pyro teams just to make a show happen. One faulty rig or unstable platform could cause injuries, and that's not something an artist like Kendrick would ever allow. And yeah, fans ask the same thing every time. Why not just perform without the effects? Just grab a mic and do it simple, but that's not how this works. For shows of this scale, it's not as easy as switching off the visuals. There are legal requirements, stage operator rules, and safety regulations. If everything isn't 100% ready, the artist legally can't perform. The venue has to meet specific conditions or insurance and production companies shut it down immediately. Childish Gambino talked about this openly, how his team wanted to push through and still perform. But the moment they saw how unstable the setup was, they had to stop. They weren't about to risk lives or ruin the show's vision. And Kendrick's team is just as committed, if not even more so. These artists don't tour just to show up and grab a check. They tour to create an experience. That's the thing most people miss. Elite artists like Gambino and Kendrick pour months of design, testing, and rehearsal into every detail. Every light, every cue, every second is part of a carefully built story. To strip that away would be like telling a director to shoot a movie without cameras. It just wouldn't be the same. So, when people try to say he should have just performed anyway, they're missing the whole point. This isn't laziness. It's integrity. Kendrick's not about to give fans a half-won show when they deserve a masterpiece. And if the building couldn't hold it, canceling was the only move that made sense. Let's break this all the way down because even Childish Gambino had to deal with the same kind of chaos. And it shows exactly what Kendrick's team was up against. Gambino dropped an official statement explaining that his crew simply couldn't finish setting up the stage. The building itself couldn't hold the weight or handle the effects needed for the show. The venue literally wasn't built for that level of production. And that's major because it proves this isn't some last-minute excuse. It's a real physical problem that even the best artists face. Now imagine Kendrick in that same position. You've got a stage that's supposed to move, lift, and explode with light. But the foundation underneath it can't even support the structure safely. There's no way to just perform anyway when you're dealing with complex rigs, moving panels, live dancers, and pyro. If one system fails, someone could get hurt. That's not just a performance issue. That's a life or death situation. And sure, some fans might ask, why not skip the effects and just perform raw? Sounds simple, but it's not. There are strict rules from the stage operators, unions, and insurance teams who oversee everything. If the stage isn't fully functional, you can't perform. Not legally, not safely, and not ethically. These aren't house parties. These are multi-million-dollar productions that have to be perfect before a single note is played. Gambino made that clear in his statement. His team tried for hours to fix things, to find a workaround, but the setup just wasn't safe. And just like him, Kendrick's not the type to cut corners or deliver a watered-down version of his vision. He's too detail-oriented, too passionate about his craft to just wing it. These guys don't perform for clicks, they perform for impact. And that's what sets them apart from every other average tour. They don't just want to stand on a stage and rap. They want to transport fans into another world. Every sound, every light, every movement is part of the story they are telling. So when a venue can't support that vision, canceling isn't a failure. It's a statement. It's saying, if I can't give you the full experience, I'm not giving you a half one. That's real integrity, and that's what makes Kendrick one of the greatest to ever do it. Here's the truth. People inside the industry aren't happy with Kendrick Lamar right now. And that says a lot. You can feel the tension building, the quiet moves happening behind the scenes. Some folks are clearly trying to make him look bad, twisting every situation into something negative, hoping to stain his image. But when you really look at what happened with this cancelled show, it becomes obvious. It wasn't about failure or ego. It was about Kendrick caring too much. That's right. The show didn't fall apart because he didn't want to perform. It happened because he wanted to make sure the performance matched his vision, that the experience was perfect. Kendrick was trying to extend his run and bring this all-time great tour to a place where most artists never even think to go. He wasn't chasing numbers. He was chasing connection. He wanted to share his message with people who don't usually get that chance. That's the kind of artist he is. And that's what makes this moment so powerful. He's proving that rap can be universal, that it can reach any corner of the world, that it's more than just a sound. It's a culture, a movement, a heartbeat. Kendrick's taking hip-hop where it's never been before. And instead of celebrating that, some people are acting like it's a threat. But this is what happens when you aim for greatness in an industry that's gotten too comfortable with mediocrity. While others settle for easy hits and viral trends, Kendrick keeps raising the bar higher, and that makes people uncomfortable. But the truth is, he's not slowing down for anyone. So, as fans, our job is clear. Stand behind him, support him, and recognize what's really happening here. We're watching one of the greatest artists alive still fighting battles most can't even see. All because he refuses to compromise his art. Kendrick Lamar isn't just playing the game. He's rewriting the rules one stage at a time. And honestly, it's not even close. Kendrick Lamar is out here operating on another level entirely. What's funny, though, is how this whole thing has turned into a silent war between the visionaries and the copycats. On one side, you've got Kendrick pushing live music forward, building full experiences that feel like art in motion. And on the other, you've got the same old recycled tours trying to hang on by copying his every move. It's wild to watch. It's almost like we're witnessing a metaphorical round two between Kendrick and Drake. The tension's back and it's spilling from the studio to the stage. Kendrick's out here turning setbacks into statements, staying focused on creating something unforgettable while Drake keeps scrambling to whop him, trying to claw back attention by doing anything that'll make headlines. And now, in the latest twist, Drake just announced his so-called birthday party concert. A move that looks suspiciously like an attempt to recreate Kendrick's pop-out moment. The timing, the promo, the tone, it all feels like a desperate remix. It's like he saw Kendrick raise the bar and instead of saluting it, he's trying to copy it for clout. But the truth is, you can't fake authenticity. Kendrick's on a mission building something legendary while Drake's just chasing the echo of someone else's greatness. And as this story unfolds, one thing's clear. The real ones know who's leading this new era of live music and who's just playing catch-up. So, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video because this battle is only heating up. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.